If that's you and you get backache after RDLs, keep watching this video. There is primarily just three main reasons why you're getting backache when you're doing the RDL. The first is that you're actually just trying to make the lift from your back, and that looks like this. Down into position, and I hit the bottom, my hips will stay exactly where they are and my back moves first. From here, this pretty much is my back dragging my hips into the bar. Now I'll demonstrate what it looks like when you actually pull using your hamstrings. On the first one, you physically see my back start arching and pulling up and my hips get dragged in. That's not to say that in the first way the hamstrings don't work, but they're not the prime mover. They're being dragged in and they're just kind of following along. Whereas in the second one, my back didn't move at all and it was all my hamstrings cranking my hips back in and pulling that weight up. The second reason is broken up into two parts: core stability and foot position. Your foot position is wrong and you're too far back into your heels. You have no capacity to move backwards. Otherwise, you're going to fall backwards. Now, I'm already in my heels, which is where a lot of people start when they make this lift because they're not used to feeling pressure and grip through their toes. They naturally tend to sit into heels. As I try and reach my hips back, I feel like I'm falling backwards. Because I've got nowhere to go, I'm left trying to bend forward to keep me in balance, hence I'm losing my back stability. The only other way you can get yourself into the hinge position is to let the spine go, as that is actually reducing the amount of distance that you have to go back. Both these ways mean you end up losing your core stability. Here, I'm going to be too much into my heels, so this position, as I start trying to reach back, I've got nowhere to go. So all I can do is roll forward. Now you can see my back has had to take up the slack to keep me in balance. Initially, when you start your RDL, you want to be slightly more into the toe. You want to feel your toes grabbing. That's not to say that you're tippy-toeing, is you've got some pressure going down through the front of your feet and you can feel your toes grabbing. That then is going to allow you space to be able to transition your hips back. You will feel your weight shift into your heels then, which is good. You've got that space to, but it's also going to allow you to maintain a neutral spine and make sure that you can get your hips back without losing balance. That will look like this. So you can see I'm a little bit in my toes, so I can just almost pick myself up through my toes, but I've still got some heel contact. From here now, I can reach my hips back, I can transition into mid-foot to heel, then drive my feet down into the ground and drive my hips forwards. So it's hips back, my feet are grabbing, I can still feel my feet grabbing, the bar's kept close to me, and now I'm going to push my feet down into the ground and drive my hips in. Once you start to feel and understand that transition to sort of forefoot back into heels, only thing then that will let you down is holding and maintaining your brace. Because what I see happen very often is that the person is so focused on trying to get the bar to the ground, they let their pelvis lose stability so they can get that extra reach. When really and truly the goal of the RDL isn't to reach the ground, it's to work the hamstrings. So don't obsess about getting as low as you can, just focus on what you can feel in the hamstrings and make sure you can maintain a tight brace. When you set up to the bar, to know that your brace is going to hold, you want to make sure that your pelvis and your rib cage are literally stacked one on top of the other. You don't want to be starting with your butt sticking out and your ribs flaring, because now your core is stretched to the max. And you want to start by making sure that your ribs and hips are stacked one over the top of the other. Now my core can brace and hold me in tight as I move around, and there's no unnecessary forces going through my back when I'm in the bottom of the position. Now the final reason you might just be smoking your back out, probably just going too heavy to be able to hold all of this together. The reality is you may be lifting 20 kilos more on an RDL with ship form, giving yourself a backache, or you can actually reduce that down by 10 kilos and get really good form and start developing your hamstrings without the backache. It's a no-brainer, right?